Can you believe that in a couple of weeks' time, I'll have been ordained for 7 years, a priesthood? And to be honest, it's a miracle, truth be told. And the other day I was thinking back to my seminary days, my time training. I trained to be a priest in the glamorous city of Birmingham. And one of the things that we do is we have to go to different places and get different experiences. So I've been to prison, I've been in prison, not like in prison, but I've been to prison, which was a hoot, thoroughly enjoyed it. When I found out I was coming here, I went and said Mass in Cardiff prison. And out of the 5 people who were at Mass, because it was COVID, 3 of them had been to St. Albans. So I thought, oh, there we are then. I said, well, come go to the right place. One of the placements I had for a year was in the hospital in Sutton Coldfield called Good Hope, affectionately known by the locals as No Hope Hospital. I don't know why, it's quite a nice hospital, it's a teaching hospital. And I used to follow, myself and another seminarian, used to follow the Anglican chaplain. And and Anglican chaplains do things differently to how Catholics, we sort of like parachute in, see somebody, but Anglican chaplains have more time and they bed hop. Not in that sort of way, but they go from bed to bed to bed. And so that's what we used to do. We used to bed hop, go to the different people. And on one of the wards one day, there was a group of petrified-looking student nurses. And I discovered from the ward sister, because as you may be surprised to hear, I've got the gift of the gab. I don't mind jibber-jabbering to people. And the ward sister said that it's their very first time on the ward. They're like fresh out of school. You know, this their first ever placement. And they were huddled together. And I'm sure if you're nurses in amongst you, you will appreciate that sort of strength in numbers. They were all huddled together. And so I started my round of bed hopping. And it's interesting how people respond when they see a priest hovering over you, or somebody who looks like a priest hovering over you. And halfway through, these group of nurses mustered the courage to come over and speak to us. And one of them said, "We don't know why you're here. We don't know what value you being here has for the people who you're going to see." It's really interesting that for those nurses, very junior into their formation time, healing for them was something which was mechanical. It was the fixing of bits of the bones, of getting you up and out, as a mechanic would look at a car, for example. There was no awareness, or there didn't seem to be an awareness, that healing is holistic, that healing involves the entirety of a person, body, mind, spirit, that we're all united together. Even if a person isn't religious, there is a sense that we are more than the sum of our parts. Isn't that true? Healing involves everything together. And sometimes the healing that's involved isn't actually about the person in the bed. It's about Mavis wanting somebody to cry to because her husband is on his last part of his earthly journey. All of us today bring ourselves before the divine physician. All of us seek his healing. We seek his strength, we seek his courage, his consolation. We don't necessarily approach the Lord wanting to leave the walking sticks behind. That's not that's a part of what healing is. We come for so much more, and each of us carries different burdens with us. Each of us has a right to approach with confidence the divine physician. What we bring before the Lord for healing may not necessarily be something physical. Look at me. I'm fine. But even I bring to the Lord my own stuff. It could be something spiritual, a spiritual wound, which continues to bring itself to the surface of life time again, something which we just can't seem to get rid of, which does begin then to affect other areas of life, other areas of relationships, because nothing is in isolation. It could be that emotional wound which nobody will ever see, nobody will ever know about, and yet we continue to carry that wound on our shoulders. And occasionally that emotional wound is something which just drags us down. It could include an unforgiveness which continues to cause us distress, or perhaps a trauma of the past which has left an infected scar. I've even witnessed how physical suffering can be the result of a spiritual or an emotional wound. Today, the divine physician walks with us. He journeys with us. He whispers into the depths of our soul, into the very situations that we are journeying with today. Quiet now. Be calm. There's something amazing about healing. Healing is tactile, isn't it? We feel it. We sense it. Healing is tactile. It uses all of the senses of the body to draw us deeper and deeper into that sacramental reality, into the reality of what's going on today. Today's celebration of the sacrament of anointing is a tangible reminder to us that Jesus longs for us to bring these things to him, not to hide them away, to bring to him those fragile parts of our lives, those storm-tossed areas of our life which we perhaps would rather not see. I was reading this morning, in Greg's by the way, I was reading this morning the words from Pope Benedict, who says that whoever truly wishes to heal must see him in his wholeness and must know that his ultimate healing can only be God's love. I pray for those students who are probably nurses now, they're probably ward sisters now, that they come to understand the depth of and reality of healing. Our faith and the expression of our faith isn't a mental exercise. It's not superstition shrouded with magic, but it's an encounter with the very love of that Sacred Heart back there. And so wherever we find ourselves today, at this time, in this present moment, this is our offertory procession. This is what we offer to the Lord today. This is our experience of that divine physician.